All right, so this book. What in the actual? Hey everybody, and welcome back to Reading Crossbow. My name is Lana, and I'm only one of your hosts. There's normally two of us, but every few episodes, one of us reads each other's book halfway and gives you our halfway thoughts on the book. So we read 2 books a month. This is Rob's choice. It is A Sword of Bronze and Ashes by Anna Smith Spark. And yeah, this is my halfway, or actually near halfway thoughts, because I stopped on page, here I marked it, 131, and this is a 326 page book, so not quite halfway, but I'll tell you why. There was a very, what I think is going to be an important stopping point, and it made sense to not go past that. So let's talk about A Sword of Bronze and Ashes. So first thoughts, this book is said to be a lyrical, poetic, folk horror fantasy by the Queen of Grimdark. So you can see why Robert would have recommended this book, because he loves Grimdark series, but he himself had not heard of Anna Smith Spark. And I would think if my friend who really enjoys Grimdark, if there was a Queen of Grimdark, he would have known about her. So I'm unsure of if she's actually been crowned the Queen of Grimdark, or if she thinks she's the Queen of Grimdark, or I don't know how a coronation process happens for someone to become the queen of this. But I have to say, 132 pages in, I'm not so sure. All right, so this book is just, oh man, I don't know what to say. It's you know what? Here's this. Lyrical and poetic. Yes. Oh my gosh. This book from the very get-go is lyrical. So on the first page, she says the cows, 3 of them, one brown, one black, one the best and the most treasured, and she counts a ton. There's a lot of counting this. Like, she looks up at the sky, 1, 2, 3 birds, counts her cows, 1, 2, 3. Like, they change scenery, and a crow squawks. I mean, this is page 2 now. Kai, kai, kai. And so like, there's this kind of like triples sort of thing that's happening. And even later in the book, she's taking things off the shelves and she's like, I need my 3 precious things, the bowl, the cup, this. And it's very like, da-da, da-da, da-da. There's a cadence to it. Not very Shakespearean by any means. We're not talking like that, but each chapter I feel has its own beats. And so, yes, the cover, when it says lyrical, poetic, absolutely, but not in this way that's like a sonnet or, like I said, Shakespearean. It is just, man, what? I don't know. It's weird. It's just like, I've never read anything like this in my life. And I don't even quite know what to say. Some chapters are long, some chapters are short, some chapters have, you can see it kind of here on this page, like this kind of breakdown of like this is what I mean by kind of like a cadence, you know, there's like a, and then no, and then this, and then no, and then this, and it's very odd. And I've looked ahead, and there's some chapters I haven't fully gotten to yet that seem to be very similar, like kind of written in their own beat. And then there's this odd chapter. I promise I'll talk what the book's about, but like, I mean, check this out. This is a chapter. This is a whole chapter. And if you look at this compared to, like, you know, what you would think a normal chapter would be, the book is odd. This is something else. Anna, I want to know what was in your brain hole when you summoned this, because I'm only to page 132 And I cannot tell if this is brilliant or crazy. And right now, I would say starting this book, it was crazy. And then getting through to where I am now, it's brilliant. So I don't know where this is going, because each chapter to the next has been a freaking roller coaster. But let's talk about what the story's about. I've ate up all that time just talking about nonsense, but you know what? It tracks. So anyhow, the main character, her name is Kanda or Kanda. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced. And here's what's so cool. We know this from like the back of the cover, and we know this, you know, as a non-spoiler way, is she used to have this amazing life as somewhat of a goddess or maybe a demigod, or I am unsure, but she's basically a warrior. Think like, in my head, I'm thinking like Themyscira, you know, Wonder Woman. And I'm imagining this, you know, without everyone being women, this like Themyscirian type world where she's just this badass warrior. And this is her life. And there's 6 of them, and she's the bravest and the strongest and the boldest and the best. And she's just like, roar, like amazing. And you kind of get a good amount of that from, you know, just kind of the cover and reading some other things about the book, and just getting like a general summary. But her life has changed, and she's now in this world where she's a mother, and that is totally different. And she lives a very simple farm life, and she has 3 children and her husband, and she loves her day to day. She walks the cows out to the field. She leads them to the stream. They get their water. She milks them. Her kids run around because, you know, the setting is like, you know, old school. It's not like modern. There's no cell phones, right? They're living, I don't know what time period this would be, but we'll call this like, I don't know, not medieval either. It's hard to say. Their houses are made of like stones and stuff and wood. It's just old, long time ago. And she loves this. She loves her life. She's lived a life of glory, a life as a warrior. She's been there. She's done that. We don't know why she's not doing it now. But we know that she's glad that she's not. So I know that. So, and that's not a big like spoiler or anything. Like, that's the basis of the story. So she's living her life. She's super happy. We don't know how much time has transpired between, you know, life kind of number 1 and like this new version of herself. But we do know that it changes one day. So trying to be as non-spoilery as possible. She's doing her cow thing, you know, counting her cows, counting the crows, doing the counting lyrical weird shit that this book does. I can't even tell you how freaking weird it is. You know, one day down by the stream, and basically finds a body, sees death. It doesn't really necessarily describe that, but you know it's death. You know it's kind of a dead body, and floats downstream, and she freaks out. She knows this is a sign. Like, she's lived the life. Maybe it's the condition that the body's in. I'm not quite sure. I have to go back and read that page. It's really early on that this happens. Like very early in the story, this takes place. And she just like books it. Like, she runs home. She knows what's up. Bad is coming. So here's the kicker. Her husband and kids do not know she's this badass warrior. Like, she met her husband, I think, in a bar or something, like the village bar. And they've lived a very, very normal, no disturbances, you know, very provincial life. So she runs home and basically is like, bad is coming. We have to leave. Like, the big bad is coming. And they're like, what? No. And she has to basically give them enough info to be like, we need to get the hell out of here. Like, it's as bad as like that one time. And some one time when some bad thing happened to a town nearby. But really what she thinks it is something to do with her past. So basically, her kids and her husband and her, they pack up, and they got to leave. They got to get out of town. And along the way, they see lots of other bad, you know, like a village being destroyed. And they have to get away. So the kids still don't know why. The husband still doesn't know why, and they have a meeting place. They have to get to the meeting place. They get to the meeting place. The kids still don't know what's going on. And then the big bad and the ugly and the who knows what the hell ever, just weird stuff, you guys. I'm telling you, it's It's different. Maybe even a knobbly horse thing. I can't even tell you. This gives literally nothing away, because if I say knobby little horse thing, you still don't know, and that's fine. So she hides her husband and her kids, but the big bad, the ugly, and the knobbly horse thing finds them, right? So this is the moment. She's gotta pull the warrior out. And you guys, we're talking page 26, I think, here. So this isn't even, I'm not telling you the book. Okay, there's 326 pages. This would be like essentially like, let me just show you in terms of the book what I've kind of told you. I want you to read this book, okay? So I'm going to tell you enough that's going to get you to want to read it. And where I stopped reading it is going to tell you, okay? So I think people should read this book. I'm not finished, and I think you should read this book for the sheer absurdity of it all. I don't even know where it's gonna go. So this is this far in, okay? Everything I told you, this is this little baby bit. Blah, okay? Big badass Conda finds some old rusty ass sword. I don't know, prophecy. I have no freaking clue. She was just milking the cows, okay? She was just counting crows in the sky. And now she's got a sword. And she like warrior shit set. This happens in like a page, okay? And bad guys GTFO. All right, so because she's like cool as fuck. And then meanwhile, I'm just kind of guessing kids are in the background like, whoa, mama, what's up? And she has to tell them what's up, right? And this is like, meanwhile, it's written crazy, okay? So I'm telling you this story, and if this was a cartoon, you'd be like, yeah, sign me up. You know, how long is the season? How many episodes? I'm in. But when you're reading it, it's tough. But the way this author writes it is super, super tough. And you have to you just have to seatbelt in, because you don't know how each chapter is going to be written. Some of them are written kind of song-like. Some of them are written normal. Some of them are like flashbacks to her old life. That's kind of how I know about her past life, is she flashbacks all the time. And she does it in a way where like you don't always know she's flashing back. It's funky. Like I'm reading about her in a field with her family. And then next thing I know, she's on some battlefield in her previous existence, or she's not like reincarnated. I don't mean to say it like that, like in this earlier part of her life. So from her past. Anyway, so at this moment, again, we're just that skinny bit of book in, you guys. At this moment, she's got to kind of like come clean. Her husband's staring at her like, yo, lady. Huh? And the kids are like, ah, right? So this is where the story starts to unfold. This is where it gets interesting. She has to, get them even farther away from the bad guys, because bad guys at this moment, they're not dead. They're just gone. Because also, weird, zombies, maybe, undead. It's actually, I'm not sure, because of her past life and the fact that she might be sort of, I don't even know yet. We haven't really gotten to all that demigod, or I don't know. That these people come from that time in her life. And I don't even know if it's on the same world, to be honest. I'm not even sure. I'm not far enough, and the author's not descriptive enough to know. But I'm hoping, there's a lot of book left. We'll get there, right? So the point of the audience reading this, is this a book you guys are going to want to read? Let me explain to you where I'm at, okay? So I'm just going to read. I flagged this part of the book. I don't normally flag and destroy books, but it's paperback, and I don't care about my paperbacks as much. My hardbacks, I care about. Okay. She said the words that must be spoken. She stepped through into the mountain. Thus did her world end. That doesn't tell you anything. But I read that, and I was like, okay, we're stopping here. This is where my halfway is, because there's... On this far in, it's not even halfway. She's saying her world ends. And does this mean which world? Okay. Is this her past self? Is this her new self? I don't think it's her new self, because she's in her mamahood. She loves her family. She's all 100% mama. And she needs to defend them, and she needs to save them. They're her most precious things in the world. So it can't be this world that's ending. It's this world that's saving. But does she mean like the world as it is now that she knew it? Like her anonymity? I can never say that word. Anonymity. Oh, mother. Some people can't say words. That's mine. Anyhow, you know, she can't ever go back to her old self. Like she's a mama. She'll always be a mama, but now she's this warrior mama. So let's talk to what got her to this point. So this is where I'm going to get more cryptic, and I'm not going to say much because I think people should read this. I think it's been a journey for me so far. This author is very talented. I will say that. It's a trip. I think you should read this if you like reading, because I'm fascinated at how this author is telling this story. But basically, at those last few sentences I read to you, she has to get them away from the bad guys. She has to go to some kind of sacred place or a scary place it's scary to her husband. It could be even scarier to local villagers. It's just like, it's a place that people don't go. She has to go there for some reason. And basically it's to get a tool that she needs or something that she needs to protect her family. Assuming something that she put there a long time ago. So she has to go get that. And so she gets to this place, and this is the moment where she's gonna, you know, I think step into more badassness. So that's kind of like the fast way to explain that to you without giving away the first 132 pages. And there's still, you know, 230 pages after that. So there's a lot of book left. I think something that I should probably tell you is that very early on this book, I thought this book was going to be a DNF. So for those of you not super familiar with the reading world now and book talk and all the fun that is reading right now, and that means did not finish. Which is funny because I just told you that you should read this book because it's intriguing and interesting and the author writes crazy town. But you have to get past that first bit. I would not. I would absolutely not have gotten past. I think I flagged it. Page like I think 16 is when it starts to get coolish. But like 16 pages, and I was like, this is not for me. She writes weird. This is written, like I said, it's either genius or it's insanity. And, you know, maybe that is a very thin line. But I would not have finished this book had I not freaking had to read this book, right? I'm going to finish the book. I will. Like, I'm going to get through to the end because now I've made it. I've made it to that bold moment I talked about where she says, thus did her world end. And you know, badass shit's coming. Look how much, right? So thank you, Rob, I think, because I don't think I would have made it past the first few pages. And I've definitely made it to the point in the book where you want to keep reading more and you want to know what's going to happen. Maybe a bit of nervousness is that the writing's already this wacky this far in. And some part of me wonders if I'm actually, I'm not trying to put myself down, but am I intelligent enough for this book? And you know what? I am not generally someone that doubts my intelligence. I feel like a smart human, and I've read a lot, learned a lot, I've come a long way. And I don't know if I'm smart enough. I think that this is a book that like professors give like students in college, and that professors will do things like, and what do you think about that? And where's the symbolism? And there's only 4 lines on chapter whatever. What do you think that means? What's between the empty spaces? I feel like that's the kind of conversation smart people will have around this book that I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. And I don't think I want to. I think the story on its own is strong enough and interesting enough that I don't need the extra. Personally, I just want to read the story. I think that this is great as a graphic novel even, because the way comic book, like graphic novels or comic books are written are like, you know, kind of moments, and you don't need all the pieces in between. It's just moments enough to like explain what's going on, and thwip and bam, and like, you know, lines here and there that are important. And so when I'm reading kind of this almost ridiculous style at times, and like, again, I'm going to show this again, like chapters like this, that feels graphic novel to me. So I am finding myself not stressing too much about the complexity of the writing style. Whether I'm intelligent, smart enough, whatever, to grasp it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I ever will. I don't know what's in store for me, but I see blank moments in the book like that again. I see some weird chapter structures. I see the author going back and forth in timelines in a not clear way. It's clever. I will give her that. It is clever and intriguing, but it is a bit of a hot mess, y'all. And would have been a DNF had I not have had to get past those first few pages. So we'll finish it up. The next episode after this is where I discuss the full book without spoilers with Rob. So again, this is Rob's recommendation. We read 2 a month. Whoever makes the recommendation, the other person gives their midway review. So again, next week we'll go over this, and then we'll pick 2 more books. We'll keep doing that. So if you like reading, and if you don't want to commit to too many books a month or like a full book club, this is a great way to read 2 books a month. Thank you for following us. We're getting closer and closer to 100. I think last time I checked it, like 85, 86, 87, somewhere in there. So every subscribe matters. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it. Join us next week as Rob and I don't know what he's going to say. I hope that, you know what, he's smarter than me. He probably just gets it. Maybe he'll just explain it to me, y'all. So see you next week. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.